So whoever wants to kind of go first, I guess, what is your relationship with your phone, do you think? I mean, how would you describe your relationship with your phone?
I would kind of say addiction, to be totally honest. I am pretty addicted to my phone in a weird, like, late night after all my homework sort of way.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and also just, like, distracting, because I'll literally have to put my phone in a different room while I'm doing homework, because I'm too, like, if my phone buzzes, then I'll just be like, oh, what's that, and I'll look at it right away.
Wow. And what are, like, the big apps right now? Like, what do you guys always check? What do you feel compelled to check on your phone?
Snapchat and Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is unpopular opinion, but I'm a big Reddit guy myself. So it's not necessarily checking the app, it's more, again, the late night kind of, you finally get to decompress, but instead of just go to sleep like you should, you end up getting on your phone, and then obviously when you look at that bright light, it ends up making it harder to fall asleep later. So yeah, it's definitely a problem, I would say, with sleep schedules and phone usage.
And even, like, the place where we can check our grades is on our phone.
Yeah,
and I know I'm, like, obsessed with my grades, so I, like, look at it a lot. So, like, I'll log in and I'll look at it on my phone. So that's also distracting.
And just curious, I know you don't. You kind of, like, watch YouTube on your phone predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, for the others, do you ever have your phone out and, like, a tablet, a laptop? I mean, how many screens might you be looking at one time?
I would say not like a TV, but I would have like my laptop and like my phone to the side to like check my emails for like teachers, and then like maybe do like homework on my computer, or like YouTube and then homework on my computer.
Anybody else? Kind of like, do you have multiple screens that you
Yes.
look at? Especially if you're, I don't know if any of you have like Apple Watches or Fitbits or whatever, but even counting that kind of stuff.
No, like at night, I think I just end up putting like Netflix on, and then I'll hold my phone, and then I'll be on Instagram, and then I'm like, wait, what? And then I just put them both down and go to bed. But there's like, yeah, I definitely use both at night.
Okay. How old were you guys when you got your first phones?
Fifth grade, I think. So I don't know how old I was back
Probably
then.
11-ish or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got, like, a flip phone in 5th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, an iPhone in maybe end of 6th grade. Yeah.
My parents didn't allow me to have a phone until I was 13. So during like 7th grade, that's when I got my first phone and started social media. So
Okay. When you're, I mean, obviously at night, right before bed, you're, looking at it, and it makes you stay up way later probably than you should. But what about when you're hanging out with friends? Is your phone out? I mean, are you guys all looking at it? How does that affect your friend dynamic?
I would say I'm pretty good, at least personally, about keeping my phone away. I don't really, my biggest problem is just the way it affects my sleep schedule, but I don't really use it at school. I don't really use it when I'm with my friends, because it's kind of just, in a weird way, when the phone comes out, it's because whatever you're doing is not good enough that you need that to be a supplement. So like if you're watching a TV show you're not really into, maybe you'll put your phone out, or if your friends are all kind of just sitting around not doing much and you're not having a good time, then everyone will start getting on their phones, I guess. So it's kind of just that reminder that you pull the phone out means maybe you should try to find something else to do. So
I also think it's kind of like a mediator for social interaction, like with people that you don't really know. Like a couple of times I've been with people that I like know, but I'm not like really good friends with, and everyone just has their phone out and they're like kind of talking to like one or two people in a group of like 8, but they're not really like interacting with each other, and mostly are focused on their phones.
How do you think that affects interpersonal relationships? I mean, if you compare your generation versus like your parents' generation, when they didn't have all the touch screen phones and stuff like that, I mean, I know I've been in those situations before where you don't know a lot of people, so you just whip out your phone and it makes you feel a little bit better. But do you think that's a negative thing? I mean, what do you guys think about what it does to interpersonal relationships?
I think it's negative because you're not as present. And I think that sometimes like we're not okay with silence, or like, I don't know, that awkward stage of not getting to know each other, or like if, let's say like nobody's talking and like, or it's like everyone's tired, like we should just sit in that instead of like going to our phones for a buffer, which I know everybody does, including myself.
I think it also prevents us from like meeting new people. Like if we just pull out our phones, we're not really interacting with them, so we don't get to know new people that we've never talked to before, just because we're a little maybe an introvert in that way, because we just don't really want to talk to new people.
Interpersonal stuff aside, like relationships with people, how do you think your phones dictate like your ability to be present and focused in class? Or just, I feel like if you're, if you've got your attention on TV or your laptop or your phone all at one time, you're just kind of spreading your attention, so maybe focusing could be harder. I mean, do you think that that's an issue?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think it's obviously an issue. It's just, I don't have notifications on my phone for anything besides text, so I don't, because I know if, like, second you hear that buzz, you want to go grab it. It's not it's, like, kind of an innate reaction to just that sound. I mean, that they probably figured that whole thing out when they made the phones, so because they want you to constantly be on it. So I try to keep all my notifications off, but it's really hard to spend all of your attention on one thing when you have, I mean, it's like if you're trying to have a conversation with someone and someone else is talking to you, you can't pay attention to both people at the same time, so both conversations end up having no value. It's the same thing with the phone. If you're looking at this screen and this screen and this screen, and you're trying to talk to this person, do homework at the same time, it probably just devalues all of the interactions equally.
Yeah.
You also use a lot of screens just in school.
That's true.
Like there's just PowerPoints on the teachers rely on PowerPoints, and you have everything on your computer. You're taking notes on your computer. Like you don't have a pen and paper really in any class anymore. Like
the assignments
Yeah.
are like linked on Google Classroom, which is on our computers and our phones, so we're going to that to look for
Yeah.
that. They email us about what our homework assignments are usually, so then we go to email for that.
Yeah.
So I do really think that in school we're on our phones, but it's not in like this social interaction type of way. It's
Yeah.
more focused on school.
But I guess if I just kind of go down the row, kind of each one, just tell me what your average daily screen time is.
About like 4 hours a day.
Yeah, mine's at like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Mine's 3 hours for weekdays, and it jumps up a little bit during the weekends. I'll say that.
Yeah, mine's 3 hours.
My phone is too, or like early of a generation to do it, so I have no idea. If I had to guess, I would probably say like an hour and a half per day, somewhere around there.
Okay. If you feel like this is accurate, then raise your hand. That you have to have your phone with you, kind of wherever you go.
Yeah.
Depends.
Okay, so you don't feel like that's cool. That's awesome. I mean, personally, that's awesome because I feel attached to my phone. Okay. I mean, we've talked about like the negatives and all that. What about the positives? Do you think there are positives?
There's definitely positives. Again, we're all talking about the negative things. Yeah, we all use our phones every day, so obviously there must be something we like about it other than its addictive properties. So I think the first thing, you can stay connected with people who aren't near you, family in other states, other countries, people who live in different areas, or just people who you maybe not see very much. You can just check in with them. It allows you to have kind of social interaction when you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So I think that can be a really good thing. It also allows for really easy access to information. So I mean, there's never been a time where you can learn more at the speed we can learn it now. And I mean, just one Google search and you can probably know almost anything there is to know. So that's definitely a very cool thing as well.
And just curious also, do you notice a difference in how you guys use cell phones and technology and screens and all that versus like younger kids? I don't know, and what's the difference?
I feel like younger kids are always like on TikTok and like making like videos and like they're super consumed by, like they hang out with their friends to then go on their phones together and create something. But I think that from what I see, people use their phones more like for efficient reasons, like how to get places, or like I want to get in contact with this person, or well, sometimes it's like you get stuck in the Instagram loop. But I think with younger kids, that's like the source of an activity for them.
I have a younger brother, and he always is on his iPad, and he like FaceTimes his friend and then goes on to a video game, Roblox, pretty much every single day, and plays for like a couple hours, and on the weekends it's even worse. So I think it's more of like playing like games for him and then also talking to his friend while playing the game together. So I don't know. I think it's playing games for younger kids, and then for older kids like us, I feel like I don't really play that many games on my phone. It's more for like social media or communication.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about social media before, like all the cameras turned on and stuff. And there was research that found higher rates of depression and anxiety among younger adults who engage in a number of social media platforms versus if they only engaged in like one or two. I don't know. What are your thoughts on social media and how that impacts anxiety, kind of your mental health? I mean, just seeing everyone posting the highlight reel.
I mean, I think it definitely affects your mental health negatively because you see your friends doing something that maybe you weren't invited to or couldn't go to, and you kind of feel left out, or what we call FOMO. And also just like if people are going on vacations and you see that, like, oh, they went to like the Bahamas, that's just cool, why am I not going there? Like, and then you feel bad about what you're doing, and like, and we also like call it our feed, and like if your feed is like aesthetic, and like if your feed is like beautiful or not, and then like if it's not, then you feel worse about yourself.
Wow. Do you guys know people who go to like great lengths?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. They have like themes in their Instagram, and it's just like, I mean, I don't have that because I just don't like think that it's a big deal, but other people will go to great lengths.
I would say it's like a presence you hold on like social media, and like I know like when life gets really crazy or like my mental health is doing poorly, I see so many people like I'm taking a break, like I need to like be with myself, I need to breathe, and then they like leave social media, but it's only in times of like I guess poor mental health or like emotional crisis. And yeah, I don't know, it's just I think sometimes there's pressure for being like streaks on Snapchat. It's like, are you gonna answer all of them, are you gonna post, or you know, all this stuff. I think there's pressure there, or just intrigue that's just like really intense, so I sometimes have to take a break.
You know, like the fact that you see people posting about this, that, the other thing, it kind of makes you feel a certain way, and then it just adds to whatever anxiety you have, and then you take a break. I mean, is it kind of a weird cycle? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
For me, it's definitely a cycle. I always see like people hanging out, and then I'm like, oh, I wish I was with them, and that is definitely fear of missing out. But then also on the other side of that, I have thought about like not using iPhone anymore, getting a flip phone or something like that. But then that also like brings back aspects of fear of missing out because everyone's using social media to communicate. So if I was just having my phone and texting people, I feel like I wouldn't be reached out to as much by like a different array of people, and it would like be more of just my friends.
And you guys talked a little bit about like the extents that people, like how far people will go to have a beautiful Instagram feed or a thematic one. I have never actually heard of a themed feed. Like, what do people do to maybe explain the whole theme thing, or what do people do to make sure that their like social media presence is perfect?
I think it's, the themes have to do with different. My little brother and my older sister they have like only post like 9 photos, and they have the themes and the color combos, or it's a bunch of really weird things that I don't exactly understand. But the biggest thing about it is that it's just these people are only posting, they're trying to make their life seem perfect, and which I think is probably the most dangerous thing about social media. Which is why that statistic you showed about younger generations and their proponents to have higher levels of mental illness is definitely relevant, because when all of the input that's coming into you is how everyone else is having such a good time, everything they're doing is so great. People only post photos of themselves where they look good, they're acting like they feel good, they're in a cool place, they're acting like they're having a good time, and you never actually get to see the other mix of life that you would see in personal interactions, or if you're talking with someone, or if you actually see them, you're like, oh, they're not having a good day. On social media, it's just all of this positivity, which you would think might uplift you, but I think it actually ends up bringing you down, because if you're not at that moment kind of affiliating with what they're posting, you're like, wow, why am I doing so much worse than everyone else?
Wow. Have you guys ever I mean, I've heard a little bit of whether you've taken breaks, but have you decided, and how many times and how long usually, have you decided to take a break ever from social media or a screen, like take a break from your iPhone at all? Have you decided that at all?
I haven't decided to. I went to like a summer camp one time where you couldn't bring your phone, and that was awesome. Yeah, it just felt really good to not have to like always think about it, and I could focus on other things. I don't know. It was a running camp, and we all had like to like socialize with each other, and I like met a bunch of people from all over the state of Oregon and from other states, and I felt like I connected better with people than I would have if I had my phone with me.
Have you guys thought about disconnecting at all, or like, I don't know, challenging yourself? It's probably really difficult, especially like when you're trying to, you know, keep tabs on friends, and that's like your main mode of like getting invites to stuff. But would you ever?
I mean, I have like deleted the app like a few times, so that's not like completely disconnecting. Like that's just like, oh, I'm gonna just take a break and then delete the app, but then I'll get it in like a day again. So like it's like not really disconnected, but I've definitely thought about like, do I really need this? Is this making me better, or like, is this really helping me, or is it like, are the negative effects bigger than the positive effects?
Okay, so you've thought about it enough to where you'll actually delete the app, but then you'll succumb again and be like, oh, well, everyone's like on it, so you kind of re-download it. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot more to talk about other than, I don't know, what do you think needs to change? I mean, to make the situation better. What's wrong with the situation now, and what do you think needs to change?
I think the biggest problem with the situation now is I think lots of us have a little bit of perspective in the sense that, I mean, I grew up like playing outside. I grew up doing all these things because, I mean, I got my phone in 5th grade. I probably started like using social media in 7th grade or something like that. But my little brother and I have a bunch of other friends who their little sisters and their little brothers, they've had an iPad in their hands since they were, I don't know, 6 or 7. And what ends up happening is I think, and like, I mean, they don't do any of the things that I did when I was growing up really, which is kind of sad. And also it just kind of shows where we're going in the sense that I feel like that's just going to keep getting worse and keep getting younger and younger. And as like new technology gets developed, it's going to become further integrated to kind of every aspect of their lives. So it's just, there's so many good things about it, but the main thing is you just need to be an active user and kind of understand, like the conversation that we're having now. I mean, most of us understand the downsides and the upsides, and well, you can't always mitigate it because, I mean, obviously there's addictive qualities. At least if you understand it, you know what you're getting into. But I think the scariest thing is lots of these kids who are like, they've had this since they were, I don't know, that was the first thing they played. Their first toy was an iPad. And so it's like, since then, I don't know how you would compare it to anything else. It would kind of seem like that would just continue throughout the rest of your life.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I guess anybody else have any other thoughts about what we've been talking about, the younger generation, what needs to happen?
I feel like a lot of it could be on parents, not allowing their children to have social media or an iPad or an iPhone until they're older. I wish my parents would take away my little sibling's iPad and make him hang out with friends more, and rather than just playing with friends on the social media or on the devices that they have. So I think it could be parents, but I mean, it's up to the parent, of course.
I think it's also being conscious about why you're posting something. Like, before you post it, be like, why am I posting this? Is this for myself, or is it to, like, make others feel bad? Or is it just, like, to keep that keepsake? Because, like, for me, I'll take pictures and be like, okay, like, I don't really post on my Snapchat story because I don't really see a point in it. Because, like, usually it just makes people feel bad that they're not with you or with your friends. So I'm usually like, okay, I just want to take a picture because I'll remember this moment. But then maybe just, like, being more conscious and thinking about why you're posting it in the first place.
Okay, cool. And how old are you guys again? I don't think I actually asked that one. We could just kind of go down the line.
I'm 17.
17.
16.
16.
Okay, perfect. Anything else you guys want to add that you think is important when you're talking about, like, all these screens in your life and digital stuff, technology? Black Mirror. Has anybody seen
Yeah.
that? I know. Talking about all this makes me think Black Mirror for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate your
Yeah, thank
input. Cool.